Quick reminder that FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And right now, it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL. And FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and much more. Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And today's winning ticket comes from Shane Garrett, who emailed us a winning ticket yesterday. He won $321 by betting $5 on the Guardians game yesterday. He had Josh Naylor and Jose to both hit a home run and both driving 2 RBIs.
Wow.
It both happened, and Shane Garrett turned $5 into $321. So kudos to Shane for that. We're going to switch the order of the Guardians topics. I want to start with Manzardo, then we'll talk Kwan. But Kyle Manzardo was called up because Steven Kwan is headed to the 10-day IL, expected to make his Major League debut either tonight or sometime during the series against Detroit. Jay, what are your expectations for the Guardians' top hitting prospect as he gets ready to make his real Major League debut?
Yeah, big. As part of your question in our note overnight, you had said, is he the next face of the Guardians?
I wanted to ask that next, so yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so I kind of merged my answer.
Perfect.
I think I have huge expectations. Let me read some of the numbers this guy's put up. And this is, we haven't seen him in the majors other than spring training, where if you look at what he did in spring training, I was pretty impressed with it. You see, he had like 387 in 13 games. He right now is widely regarded as the second best prospect in the Guardians organization. He is top 50, but low end of that in all of Major League Baseball. I think that's low.
I do too.
And here's why I think that's low. These numbers are from the past. In his last 14 games at the highest level of minor league baseball for the Columbus Clippers AAA, in his last 14 games, this is crazy, he has 8 home runs and 6 doubles. That's a power swing in each of his last 14 games. He has 14 RBI in his last 14 games in Columbus. He is proven all he can prove at AAA. Now, I know the debate about bringing him up is, what are you going to do with him? So you need a roster spot. You've got some guys that have proven to have value, but you're keeping them around for the slim role that they play. Mm-hmm. Okay? Ramon Laureano is a guy that you like because he can hit righties. But, my God, I'm pretty sure he's hitting below 200, and he's a good pinch hitter to bring it off the bench because it gives you options when you start playing the matchup game. But to keep him on the roster, they're doing it because they're paying him $8 million. But if you're just putting what you think is the best team, the best 25 guys from your organization on the field, you can't make an argument for him not being in that group. Nope. Other than we don't know what he's going to be once he gets to the big leagues. I think it's going to take him some time. He's not going to hit at that pace when he gets here. He's going to DH and first base platoon with, not platoon, they're going to both play every day, but some days he'll be at first base, some days he'll be at DH. I know from being in Arizona for spring training, the organization was a little concerned about his footwork at first base and his defense. I give Josh Naylor so much credit. He's done 2 things in the last 2 years that we almost never see. He turned his 2 deficits into 2 strengths. He couldn't hit left-handed pitching. He's one of their best hitters in their entire lineup against left-handed pitching, and bumped his batting average against lefties up 100 points. And he became a good defensive first baseman. He was a liability at first base when they first put him there. You've got to have him in the lineup every day. I think that between Manzardo and Josh, you've got 2 big pieces of lumber in the lineup every day. You can't overlook that anymore. He's being called up because they've got an injury spot. They've got a spot on the roster open because of the injury, which let's hope it's not serious, to Steven Kwan. But the only way he's not the future face of the organization is if this #1 overall pick that they get to exercise later this month ends up being Major League ready before people think. Okay. And if it ends up being that guy from Florida, I think he's Major League ready right now. So the only way Manzardo's not the future face of the organization is if this future #1 pans out to be everything you think he can be.
This is how I'm going to start this off, because when I seen this in the rundown, I kind of had a question for you. He's here because Kwan got hurt, right?
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, where is he going to play? Because I started doing some research. My man has never played in the outfield
No, he
before.
won't. Will Brennan's going to go to right.
Okay.
And you'll see him in right more often than probably not. And we don't even know. Kwan's on the 10-day DL. So right now it's 10 games.
Okay.
In my mind, Manzardo, it's not position, it was a roster spot.
Okay.
You've got Laureano, who you just can't release because he's paid $8 million. Now, you can designate him. If he's not claimed, then you keep him, and then he would just go to Columbus. But it was more, what are we going to do with all of these pieces that we're trying to figure out where they fit? I don't really care about that anymore.
If he made his major league debut tonight against Detroit, is he the DH or the first baseman? And then
Either or.
And then how low in the lineup are you having him?
I wouldn't put any pressure on him at all. I'd put him 7. I'd have him low in the lineup.
I can't wait to see him play.
I can't either.
On this level.
I mean, just based on what he's done in the last 14 games, this guy's going to be a star.
Yeah.
He's one of the hottest hitters in the entire minor leagues.
You could make the
Maybe
point
the
he's
hottest.
the hottest hitter in baseball.
Maybe the
right
hottest.
Now, I will say this. There is, even though everybody looks at it as, well, it's the highest level of baseball, of professional baseball that's not MLB. Fact. But what this really drives home the difference in between is the pitching at a AAA level and a major league. He's seeing Oakland A's type pitchers every day. You're going to get fat on that if you're a major league hitter, which he is. I think, you may want to call up his numbers, but I think Miles Straw's beating the hell out of the ball down there, which he should. He's seeing bad pitching every night. So, or young, inexperienced pitching. So I just think that
Miles Straw is hitting 232.
no. Okay, never mind. I thought I looked at some of his splits the other day, and I was like,
B.
wow,
Nah.
Straw's getting it. What's his OPS?
635.
Okay.
It's
That's-
average. That's
It's okay.
you expect a guy.
Well,
who's
because
played
it
in the
was
league-
Straw, I expected to be in the
Yes.
in the fours.
It's gonna have
But-
to be. It's gonna have to be either Florial or Laureano.
And that's the problem. Florial, I'm pretty sure, because of the way they got him, they have to keep him on the roster all year. Wasn't he a Rule 5 guy?
Yeah, he's a Rule 5 guy.
So,
So-
if you
If you
drop
send
him
down,
off the
you can't bring him
25-man
back.
roster,
He's gone.
he's gone.
Gone.
He's gone.
Well, he's batting
So-
200.
Well, what you want to do, though, is you want to make sure
That-
that's who he is.
Yeah, yes.
And how do you do that? At bats.
But
not 20, not 50, 100.
And whether they want to admit it or not, the Josh Bell move, they're like,
Oh, it hurt.
the catcher. Last
Zanino
year,
was even worse.
Zanino. So that's 2. So they got 2 last year. So now you got Laureano. That's $8 million. They've
got another $4 million in Miles Straw down in Columbus right now.
So now-
if they end up DFA, if and I'm not saying
Go ahead.
that's going to happen, but if Laureano ends up in Columbus, you've got $12 million worth of players
for a team that don't spend no money.
for a team that's got the lowest payroll or one of in baseball.
And so, believe it or not, trust me, it's like having that budget meeting when I want them Jays, man. We at the coffee table and they like, whoa, you got all this money sunk into these cars. You can't get no Jays, especially if they ain't working. See what I'm saying?
They're on the DL.
They're on the
They're
DL
in
right
Columbus.
now. They're in Columbus. $12 million. So that's why they like, well, listen, we're gonna make sure we're gonna be oversure. That's why Manzardo is where he is right now. Not because he can't play, because of that $12 million that they don't want to
That's
part
it.
in
That's
AAA.
the elephant in the room.
That's it.
I just can't. I mean,
I know.
I know.
I know where you're going.
I just can't wait. Like, you got Kyle, you got Gabriel Arias, you got Bo. Like, you got all these young prospects that I've heard of for the Guardians probably for the last 3 or 4 years.
And they're here.
And they're here now. Like, my boy Bo hit a grand slam the other day.
Which on Friday I said he should be in
He need
Akron.
that.
Yeah,
He
Bo.
need that.
I mean, he's hitting like 170 something.
right.
I'm like, this guy's hitting like he
And
belongs
then,
in Akron.
and then I said, Austin Hedges is getting that bats, and he hits a home run.
Yeah.
My mom is jumping up and down in the living room. I told you, Austin Hedges. I said, Mom, don't tell me about Hedges.
And that's okay. We had a chat about it. I think Anthony quickly texted out because I saw it when he hit the home run. I said, "Bull text in 5, 4, 3," and it was Anthony that sent it.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I
Bull
was sitting
said-
at the game, and it went right over my head.
Oh, that's hilarious. I wish you would have caught it. That would have been an all-time epic moment. The
That would have
Austin
been.
Edges look like.
Yeah.
But Bull did not disappoint. He chimed in instantly and he goes, well, that means he's not due to hit another one until July.
Speaking of Bull, he sent me his list, 14 deep. So we'll get to that in a sec.
That's typical Bull.
I do want to ask.
I knew he would go.
Steven Kwan though.
Okay.
Manzardo's here. Steven Kwan to the IL. It's a hamstring
One other
injury.
thing, quickly, hold that thought.
Okay, one thing.
Quickly, I put this in my notes. I want to say it. I killed the Guardians last year when they traded Aaron Savali. I was pissed.
Yeah,
Why?
you were.
He was basically their ace.
You was hot.
They were in the race. They
You
were
was
2
hot.
games out behind the Minnesota
Yeah.
Twins, and they said, take our best pitcher. And I was hot.
Tito was hot too.
I love that trade today because Aaron Savali is 2-2 with a 6.14. That's early. ERA. That's the worst of any year he's had in his career. And he hasn't looked like Aaron Savali, although his strikeout, he's still striking out at over 1 per 9 or 1 per inning. But I love that trade.
But I mean,
But that's what a fan is. You're knee jerk.
He could eat some innings for us, couldn't he? Right now.
Yeah, he
The
could.
Guardians could use both Manzardo
would-
and Savali.
But here's the thing. I love that trade based on what Manzardo's done in the minor leagues. He may come up and he may hit until August 1st, 190. I don't know.
That's
No
okay.
one knows.
I'm fine with that.
But here's a guy who when I talked to him in spring trade, what jumped out at me is he's from Idaho. And I said, bro, how many major leaguers has Idaho produced? And he's like, man, maybe only like a handful, 3 or 4. And he named them, and they were all like kind of role guys. And I go, so you're used to beating the odds then? He goes, well, I haven't beat them yet, but I'm going to. And I loved that. It was just like, This kid is quietly confident. He's not your typical MLB player. Very quiet guy. And he's from Idaho.
Yeah.
And he sounds
He
like a
also
good
does
player.
not look like a guy who could be the
No,
face.
he does not.
Well, hopefully his play overrules
He's got
that.
the must.
What you trying to say, McNuggets?
Just if you
Just
see
leave it alone. Leave it alone.
No, he doesn't. When he walked in the room,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
literally, when he
Don't do
walked
that.
in the room, I thought to myself, "Oh, I'm getting punked right now by Curtis." Curtis
We love Curtis.
gave
yes.
a jersey
Shout out to Curtis.
to one of the equipment guys and told him to go in there and pretend you're Kyle Manzardo. He won't
You
know.
would believe
He
it.
looked like the manager at Whole
I do-
Foods or something
Earl,
like that.
Earl, real
Yeah.
quick, 2 minutes on Kwan.